Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Make sure you subscribe to the All This Math YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video. Go ahead, hit the button. Hit the button with the thumbs up. Go ahead, like the video. All right. If you have any questions about anything that I explain or attempt to explain, please drop your questions in the comment section down below. Also, share the video, right? Don't be selfish. Don't try to keep it all to yourself. Share the video with anybody that also might benefit. What we're covering today is some HSPT math, high school placement test math. These are questions that you will find on the high school placement test for students in Catholic and parochial schools in the 8th grade, right? That are trying to gain admission and find out where they place in terms of math preparation for high school, right? For high school. All right. But this is also content that students that do not attend Catholic or parochial schools should also be well versed in as well. All right. This is some like pre-algebra / algebra work here. So let's get into it. It says to simplify, -3 to the second power minus -2 to the third power. In order to do this problem correctly, we need to understand the order of operations. We also need to understand how to utilize exponents. This little number here and here, these little numbers are called exponents, right? It's basically just slang, right? We have to understand how to speak the language of math and also how to write the language of math. Exponents are basically a form of slang. All right. It enables us to not have to write out the long form way of saying -3 times -3 or having to say -2 times -2 times -2. An exponent enables us to just, real quick, you know what I'm saying? Just, use some slang vernacular just to express something mathematical. So it prohibits us from or prevents us from having to write it out the long way, take up more space on our paper, take up more time talking about it. All right. Now, -3 squared is equivalent to, as I said, -3 times -3. A multiplication statement with two -3s in it. That's why the exponent is a 2. -3 is what we call the base, -3. Now, what is -3 times -3? That is equal to a product of +9. What you need to know is that when you multiply negative times a negative, your product is always a positive number. A negative times a negative will yield you a positive number. So this is going to become +9. Now, then you bring the minus sign down. That's a minus sign. All right. This minus sign doesn't have anything to do with this necessarily. That's something you have to know. That's a common mistake students will make. They'll try to treat this like it's double -2, and then they might make this a +2 and then apply the exponent. You can't do that because, like I said, we need to utilize the order of operations. The order of operations. All right. The order of operations indicates that we must use the exponent first and then apply the negative sign. All right, because the negative sign really represents multiplication by -1. All right, so -2 to the third power. What does that mean? Yeah, I still count with my fingers, especially when I'm dealing with exponents. Well, really only when I'm dealing with exponents. -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is -8. All right, so -2 to the third power or -2 cubed equals -8. So I got 9 minus, and then I got -8. Now, this says 9 minus -8. That's what we call in the math business, we call that a double negative, right? When you got two minus signs in between the numbers, right? Double negative. A double, you got two of them, and they got to be in between the numbers. All right. That means that it simplifies into 9 plus 8. Double negatives become a plus sign. Put the minus signs together and become a plus sign because you're subtracting a negative. Subtracting a negative is equivalent to doing what I call regular addition. So 9 plus 8. Now, if you remember your addition facts from elementary school, you know that 9 plus 8 is 17. So all of this up here simplifies to just plain old positive 17. All right. So get some practice with applying exponents to negative numbers, applying exponents to positive numbers, dealing with double negatives, and so on and so forth. All right. So what you want to do is make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Go ahead, like the video. Drop a comment down below if there's something you still don't understand, or if you just want to make a comment. All right. If you just appreciate the work we're doing at All This Math, go ahead, show us some love. Also, share the video with some other people. That's another way to show us some love. All right. Peace. See you on the next video.